What's going on, people? So this box here came in the mail earlier today, right? Gonna open this thing up, see what's going on the inside. Should be a pair of Brooks shoes and all that good stuff, right? Not to spoil anything, but I mean, come on. Like, it's known what's in here already. And I say that because most people will be seeing this after the fact, like not while it's live, because I don't really promote my lives in a way that leads to like a lot of live views. They usually just get watched after the fact. And by that point, there's thumbnails and stuff, right? The title won't be changed, but the description will certainly lead you here, and the tags and whatnot, normal SEO type things. So there's that, right? Side of the box, Brooks, Hyperion 2. That color looks a little concerning in some ways, but hopefully, it says what it's supposed to say on the side, so it just looks a little bluer than it should. But let's go ahead and open things up, and okay, that things are good. I was a little concerned, like I said, for a second there, but it's all working out so far. So here's these quick little look over, just to make sure everything's fine. There's still a few sizes, or excuse me, a few in my size available. There's a lot of sizes available still on Dick's Sporting Goods. If this is a thing that you're into, that's where I got mine. It might look a little bit more blue in the camera because it's looking like that on the monitor here, but it's more of a purple color, just so you know. But anyways, real quick, as far as things go, my aunt, she knows that I do my share of like exercising, working out, whatever. And every now and then she sends me stuff. So Christmas came around not too long ago. Maybe you heard about that. She sent me some Brooks stuff, like some socks and some pants. Now, I'm one of those people that if I'm wearing like an Adidas shirt, I'm wearing Adidas shoes, right? I bring things all together. I'm not going to be out there with this Adidas shirt on like I have now and like some Invincible Run 3s from Nike or something. That's just not right to me. So, given that she sent me some Brooks stuff, I figured I should get some Brooks shoes. I have two pairs. I have the Cascadias and I have the Rebel 5s, but something a little more up to date, a little more my speed, I guess. And so I went on the Brooks webpage. They do that like shoe finder thing where you type in what your preferences are, how your feet are, all that stuff. And they suggest things to you. One of the things they suggested was the Hyperion 2, also the Hyperion Max, but that hasn't arrived yet. So that'll be here at some point within the next couple days, I guess. I honestly don't know exactly. But whatever. Let's just talk about this thing right here. So like I was saying, this right here, it is the Brooks Hyperion 2, right? Comes in at a cool 140, which puts it in the same ballpark as some things you'll see here in a second. The Infinity Run 4 and the Nova Blast 5. I'll pull those up in a second. First, we're going to get on into this. So down across the bottom, honestly, like when I'm looking at that, it looks cheap, right? I don't know why. It just kind of has that look to me. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but that's just kind of my take on it right off the top. And also, one thing I will say, these are like super light. It's weird. It's almost like they feel like maybe like the Super Blast 2 or something. But I mean, there's less shoe here, so it should feel pretty light, I guess, in that way. But I don't know, it's a little weird. Maybe even the Ride 17. I think those were also pretty light. The Saucony shoe. Anyways, midsole, right? Now I can't really get on into the details of what all is going on in there. It says DNA flash, nitrogen injected, right? That's what it says on the inside. Let's see, there it is. It's not really focusing, but whatever. And then on the back end just says Hyperion. So it didn't make it sound like this was anything too fancy, just kind of like their standard foam from last year, just improved, right? Or the last time they released something. But I don't really think a whole lot of that really matters, honestly. If this is the first one I'm wearing from this brand, then it's really just going to be how does this stack up against other things that are of a similar price, which is why I referenced those other two shoes. Anyway, so as far as the upper goes, it's kind of like going to be just your standard mesh sort of upper. Doesn't feel as good as mostly anything else, honestly, that I've picked up in the last while in this price range. So there is that to be said. But I liked the color. I like the purple and the green, right? That's kind of what's going on here. Regardless of how this may be coming off in the camera, I'm not sure. I also have nightlight mode on because it's getting dark and, the whole red eye thing or red light thing. So anyways, moving on, got the Brooks thing on the inside there, or on the middle side there. And then on this side, it has it all written out. So there's that for you. On the back, a little bit more. They went really heavy on the branding on these, right? And then, of course, on the inside, right? Unlike those gel kinetic fluents that had nothing on there. But anyway, so jumping back over to the front here, tongue-wise, this kind of reminds me of how the Nova Blast 5 was laid out in some ways, because it has this really thin tongue and it's got this little strip down the middle. Let's push this to the side. I'll pull those up in just a second here. Otherwise, typical plain flat lace. They got a little bit of a green tip thing going on, which is cool. Kind of helps them stand out. And then at the top of the tongue, it's weird. It's almost like there's just like a chunk missing. I mean, that's obviously like the intent here. But again, much like the Nova Blast 5, it kind of has that sort of thing in a way. But so I'm guessing it's going to be there so that, the tongue doesn't slip around so much when you're wearing them. But past that, everything feels pretty nice for, the price, I guess, nothing amazing. So don't get your hopes up thinking you're going to get something that's kind of above the price level that you're paying. It's right at that 140, at least in my opinion, right? So anyways, there's that. But like I said, the other two things, and I'm going to put these on in a second and see what the sizing is like. But I was mentioning this right here. This is I keep wanting to say Invincible, but it's the Infinity Flynet 4, right? So it has like a better feel just overall in some ways. It doesn't have a better look. Definitely not. Still not big on like the way these little raised up bumps are and all that stuff. Not a huge fan, honestly. And even, I mean, the color is not bad, but it wasn't as vibrant as I thought it might be. Kind of like washed out. But anyway, so these both are 140. I haven't been the hugest fan of these, honestly. Like, they feel fine. I did do a run in these like a couple weeks ago, on Christmas actually, yeah. And they felt better then, so maybe they're just kind of like taking a while to get broken in or whatever. Like the step-in comfort is there, right? They feel fine just walking around, but the whole running situation is kind of where you want them to like really step it up, right? Because that's what they're bought for, maybe what they're made for. So I don't know. I might just have to give these a few more runs or whatever just before I like really settle on my opinion. But I'm still not thinking it's gonna be like anything amazing, even if I do get them broken in more. And then, like I was saying, this right here being the Nova Blast 5, and I had a similar sort of tongue situation going on. Let's push that out of the way here for just a second, so I can just actually show you what I was talking about here. So, like I was saying, this one you can't quite see it because it has this little strip on there, but as you see, it is kind of like dropping down in the middle there, right? And past that, otherwise, they both feel about the same as far as weight goes. This one looks like you might be sitting a little higher in the back, than these do. It's kind of hard to say though. Sometimes, like with the Ultra Boost 22 and the 21 and the Light also, those, because of the way the back end was made, it makes it look like you're higher than you actually are. But when you put them on, the foot is like sitting a little bit lower than the actual top of the foam, or a boost in that case, right? So I'll figure that out later. But speaking of, I'm going to slip these things on real quick. I went running earlier today. Actually, that's where I just came from. Well, I just came from Cracker Barrel, but before that, I was running. And anyway, so I have my compression socks on that I normally run in, right? So that's a good thing because that means that when I try these on, I'll know exactly what I'm getting into. If I was wearing like just normal socks, then it throws things off just a wee bit. So, all right. And one thing I'll add in, when I did the shoe finder thing on the Brooks webpage, one of the things they ask you about your preferences is, are you looking for cushion or are you looking for speed? I'm looking for a light shoe that is fast, right? Not the biggest cushion guy, right? It's nice to have some, don't get me wrong. But I kind of prefer some of the other things that just move along a little quicker, because sometimes with like all that extra cushion, you kind of feel like you're dipping down into it and having to come out. Newer foams kind of have a nice rebound effect, so it doesn't seem so bad. But every so often, like I was talking about with the glide rides, sometimes you just notice it. All right. right off the top, right? I have these, and the top of this tongue, I'm noticing it now, like as I'm touching it, but it's pretty stiff, right? So this piece up here, it's right there, like not the flimsy top pieces, but like this piece here, it's pretty stiff and it is not comfortable in any way. And it is digging right into my, like right above your foot, like right at the bottom of your ankle, that area where it just kind of bends in. Yeah, so not not at all a fan of that. I have to believe that that's going to go away sooner or later or whatever, but it's one of those things, like if you put a shoe on and you immediately notice something you don't like, it's going to stand out, right? Past that, I will say the sizing is fine, right? You can look at these, you can tell it is a slim build, so you don't have a whole lot of space going from left to right or anything like that, which again comes down to them being like a lighter, just built for speed type of shoe. So that's kind of to be expected. So I would say, yeah, because even like compared to this right here, the Nova Blast 5, you see it's a little bit wider in some ways. And even when you look at the bottom is also wider, which gives it a little bit more for stability. So when you're running like left to right, you kind of don't feel like you're going to fall either way. When you have a wider base, that's kind of a thing that helps. Anyway, so putting my foot into these, yeah, I'm a size 9.5 foot person. I bought these in a 9.5 true size. Is working out for me, yeah. But depending on like your foot style or whatever, that's probably not going to be ideal for you because I don't even have a lot of room in these. You know what I'm saying? So if you feel like you have large feet, like wider or something, I don't believe they make a wide version of this. So your best bet would probably be going up half a size or maybe a whole size. I don't know. I'm not sure how to really gauge that. I can tell you that true to size is probably not going to work out for you though. But these seem to be available in a number of running stores, not in all colors, but at least the model itself. So if you head out to an actual running shoe store or like or a sporting goods store like Dick's or whatever, you should be able to find them. I would hope. But they feel like they might be okay walking around in them. I'll have to see that later and all that good stuff. But right off the top, they feel light. They feel pretty okay, right? As far as like under the foot and everything. A little stiff in some ways, but again, they're not made for the cushion, so we'll see. It could be like I don't know if it's going to end up being stiff like the Ultra Boost 19, which was stiff, but like it was good though, or if it's going to just feel stiff like the Halloween shoe. The Ride 17 just felt really, or was it the Noosa Tri 16? One of those, I can't remember now. That's why I do the videos, people, because I don't really remember all of this all the time. But one of those felt very light, which is nice, but also very stiff and solid, like more so than I would normally want, right? With something like this, I'm wearing the Cork Adidas slides right now. Yeah, these are going to be pretty stiff too, but it's kind of expected, and you kind of want that sometimes. Sometimes, like on a running shoe, it may just not be ideal. But that's a thing that I'll be figuring out later. Problem for future Tristan, and he's got a lot on his plate. I can tell you that, because not everything has arrived just yet. But I have a lot of shoes coming in to knock out videos for. But then I'll probably, at that point, I think I'll have mostly everything that I need for the next while. So then it'll probably be a bit of a drought as far as content related things go. But anyways, real quick, a little bit of a recap before I move on to this box I got from Sideshow. So this right here, this is the Brooks Hyperion 2 in the Colony Blue and Nightlife colorway, which is basically just some kind of purple and green. Very cool combination. It's one I don't see very often, but I do like it, so that's why I bought that one. And because that model was recommended by the Brooks site based on my foot style and my preference for running shoes. Now, being that they cost $140, puts them in some ways right up against these. Now, Nike tends to be overpriced on everything, so it is what it is. Just go with it. $140 on both of these, right? This being the Infinity Run 4, this being the Nova Blast 5, right? So when I do my little follow-up later, I'll probably reference these because that's the thing that makes sense right now. But every now and then, sometimes you get something that is a little cheaper and performs at a higher point. The Kayano 31s to me outperformed the what was that thing? The Invincible Run 3, and that the Kayanos are, let's see, 165, so $35 cheaper, right? Yeah, because 165 to 200. So, it can happen. But anyways, so there's that. And like I said, they are true to size. That's what's working out for me. But again, super slim build. So don't go jumping all over that. Maybe go watch some other videos, whatever. Those have been out for months now. So you should be able to find a lot of information on them. Anyways, so that concludes the shoe portion of this video, right? So if you want to leave and go do something else, I get it, right? Maybe you got to knock out some things before Dynamite comes on. For me, I don't even know if I'm going to watch Dynamite tonight because Den of Thieves 2 comes out tomorrow, which looks kind of interesting. But I haven't seen Den of Thieves 1. I didn't even know there was a Den of Thieves 1. But it's on HBO, or HBO Max, whatever it's called. So I'll probably watch that. But if you're in Australia, it's on Netflix. Or if you have a VPN, you can sit in whatever location you want to sit in and pretend that you're in Australia and watch it that way. So either way, we'll see how that works out tomorrow. So this right here is the box I got in from Sideshow Collectibles, right? I went for the double box option, which means they put it in like a normal shipping box, right? But then on the inside, you have this box, like the one that it would normally just be in. Because when I get a lot of my Mondo stuff, it's just mailed straight in that standard box, which is not great in some ways because somebody could like steal it, but it's weird, when you see like Nike boxes and stuff, and everybody's trying to steal those like years ago because they had that big black tape on there. But something like this, even though it says right on there, Iron Studios, Sauron, BDS, 1/10 scale, a lot of people are just like, I don't know what that is. I don't care about that. But you probably would, because this thing right here is actually like, it looks pretty nice in the pictures. And it costs a decent amount. It's a retail of about $270, something like that, which is a little higher than I'm used to for the Iron Studios statues. I think my Mr. Sinister one was a fair amount, but that one was also, it was a good size too. But my Cyclops one, which is a deluxe model, wasn't that much. And even my Ninja Turtles, which I got the 4-pack, those were like 200 a piece. Right? Pretty sure. So every now and then, and those were deluxe models, which is crazy. So let's go ahead and get this thing out of here. All right, we'll sit this right there. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Marvel and Sauron. He's the guy who wanted to turn all the humans into dinosaurs instead of curing cancer, which sounds ridiculous. Like, you're like, are you making that up? It's like, no, that was a real thing. It was a very real thing. And he stood by it, people. You got to admire someone who stands by their convictions like that. So this looks like it's going to be kind of a wider upper, right? Because of like the wings and all that. And it might be kind of tall because it's a 1/10 scale. So that Moon Knight figure over there, he's standing on some kind of pillar. So it's probably about as well. It's going to be a little taller than that just because, again, like the wings come up a little higher. So I'll be opening this thing up soon. That's the plan. And then I'll see what's going on with that. I also have one more from Iron Studios to open, and that's going to be Quicksilver. That's not the front. This is the front of the box, Quicksilver. So there's that. Do you display all of your collectibles? All of them would be honestly impossible, right? It'd be nice, but I'd have to knock down a whole bunch of walls and build a whole bunch of shelves. Well, I wouldn't build a shelf because if I built the shelf, it would not be trustworthy. But I have a lot of stuff, right? So some of it's out, some of it's not. And every now and then it's just kind of one of those things of like, okay, well, I'll take these things down, put some new stuff up. Or I got like my WWE Ultimate Edition figures. Those are going to be, they're all hanging out right there. It's a pretty nice display. But I'm going to be moving those to a shelf that I put in my room. And then that space is going to go to, I think, Mondo figures, maybe? I think that's what I was going to do. Or maybe those Gargoyle NECA figures. I don't remember. I had an idea. But either way, yeah. So do I display all my stuff? No, I don't. I display what I can, right? And even like this, I'm not sure exactly where he's going to go because like I just got that Dazzler statue the other day. That's in the music room because it's a music related thing. That's why I got it, right? But the Quicksilver, I don't know. I think I might still have some space for like those other Iron Studio statues if I move some of those people around a little bit. Sauron is going in my room opposite of Mr. Sinister because they'll both be sitting on the desk, one on each end, like on the other sides of the monitors, where I do all my editing and all that stuff. So that's what's going on with that. I know this is more than you really asked for, but sometimes people ask questions and then my mind starts to wander on like things and I start thinking out loud as far as what I am going to do. And I need to get that shelf dealt with as well because I got some AEW figures on there, but I think those have run their course, so those are coming down for sure and are going to be replaced with. It's one of those 4x2 shelves, so like there's like 8 little blocks in there. So I'm gonna put like a little bit of something in each one, that way I can have some variety. Maybe yeah, I don't know what exactly, but it's a thing I got to deal with. I got a bunch of Mondo figures over there that I need to open and figure out. Marvel things from the X-Men, also some He-Man stuff, a couple Batman figures, right? Mostly He-Man, right? Yeah, oh, mostly He-Man. So there we go. Was there anything else I was supposed to do before I started giving you more information than you asked for? I don't think so. So I guess I can just wrap this thing up. Unless anybody else has any questions or whatever, regardless of what it's related to, feel free to throw it out there. I'll answer it because like while I'm here right now, that's kind of like how this works, right? You catch me later in the comments section, and honestly, like I get a lot of crap comments. So when I'm like going through them, sometimes like I just don't feel like it anymore. I'm just over it, and I'm just like, yeah, cool, great, fantastic, thanks, keep on watching. Just whatever comes to the top of my head when I see the comment, and then I just move on. So not always the greatest approach, I get that, but it's the approach that I do, right? So that's why I give you the people that have actually watched these things live. This is my moment to like actually give you some real answers if you want one to whatever question or comment you may have. But anyway, so from there, I'm going to close this thing out, move on because it's been about 22 minutes according to that clock. And I have some other stuff I'd like to do. Like I do have to got to get some pictures of these Transformers cards because I spent a long time last night like not unboxing, but like organizing these things. You ever listen to a Silver Sun Pickups album? They're long. I went through like 2 of them while I was sitting there organizing these things. Yeah. So anyways, got to do that after this too. Get some pictures for a video. It's a whole thing. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, wherever you are. Appreciate whoever stopped in. I know there was Will Roman here. Put that on the screen so people know who I was talking to. Yeah, so appreciate anybody stopping by, listening to this for whatever amount of time you listen to this, or just kind of clicking on it, seeing what you saw, and maybe it wasn't for you and you moved on. I get it, right? Not everything's for everybody. Can't all be winners. That's what I say all the time. But hey, you were here for at least a little bit, so it means something. That being that, we are done here. So I am going to, and thank you to you as well. But that being that, I'm going to move on and do some of that stuff that I just said I need to do. So you all will cross paths in the future, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Later, people.